What up, ladies and gents? Happy Tuesday.
Woo-woo.
What? Google, Terminator, artificial intelligence. That's what we're going to be talking about today, ladies and gents. Can't wait to get this one started.
We'll be back.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business and social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros.
Fired up intro, guys.
That's right. That's how we go. Let's fire up that intro.
Here it goes. Here it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, I was wrong last week. The San Diego heat wave is unrelenting, and it's about to get hotter right here on the Business Bros Pod. Our guest today is here to rock our worlds and blow our minds as we learn about AI and marketing. As the chief marketing officer of his company, our guest works to outshine the competition in all things marketing and artificial intelligence. In other words, his company is helping businesses to target the right person with the right product and service at the right time. Talk about a trifecta. We're so excited to learn from this expert just how AI and marketing are coming together in this digital and smart age, and more importantly, how you can benefit by using AI to your advantage in your business. Joining us today from Standard Insights, an AI as a service company, welcome to the show, Jerry Abiog.
What up, Jerry? Welcome to the program, man.
Hey, thanks, James. Thanks, Hernan. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
All right, I'm gonna
Pleasure to
start
have
it
you
off.
on the book.
I'm gonna start off really cool. I'm gonna say, brag to me about the best things going on with you in the past 30 days. You got some cool stuff happening, right, Jerry?
Well, it's kind of a, catch-22, COVID.
Yeah, well,
COVID's the best thing. Well, not so much for the world, but, as they say in life, you have to adapt and overcome. Everyone on this planet since March had to adapt and overcome. And you made an intro of our platform, Standard Insights. It's an AI service growth marketing platform. So we help businesses, as you had mentioned, target the right person with the right product or service at the right time across a variety of verticals. And one of those verticals is restaurants. So when COVID hit, we actually developed an AI-driven digital menu last year that, to tell the truth, kind of fell flat last summer. But when COVID hit, we pulled it out of the garage in March. We tweaked it. We relaunched it as its own brand, iorder.menu, and we're scaling fast. So to your point, yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit more about iOrder menu. Oh, well, let's get into this whole AI thing. Let's kind of clarify this, because we all have this concept, at least in my mind. When we think of AI, we think of things like, Terminator taking over, Skynet. Yeah, exactly. We got Jarvis and all these different things. Where is AI right now, and what are we talking about here when we talk about AI?
Yeah, so the basic high-level Cliff Notes definition of AI is getting a computer to think and act like a human. And the two best cases we're seeing it in our everyday lives is Amazon with their product recommendations and Netflix with their movie recommendations. So that's a real high-level, simple definition of artificial intelligence, how it's permeating and benefiting everyone in our society today.
So is it different than an algorithm per se? So in other words, when I'm thinking of Facebook, like how does Facebook get my stuff to go out more, or Instagram? How does Instagram get my stuff?
It's the same thing. It's an algorithm, machine learning algorithm. So the computer looks at patterns, right, of how certain people act. Another example would be the self-driving cars with Tesla, right? So just getting an algorithm to think and act like a human, and then executing whatever you want it to execute. And in our case, it's for marketing and driving repeat buyers.
So you're taking that concept, you're taking the whole concept of developing an algorithm, learning your own pattern, right? There's things that you do on a regular basis, your own habits, and you're applying them right now into the restaurant business, into the iOrder page. So this is,
and it's even predictive, right?
Yeah. So
yes, predictive.
That's key, because one of the cool things that Amazon does, that Google does, is it kind of reminds you, hey, remember you found this important? Like, go ahead and take a look at it again. And for me, for example, I know every Friday I have a 10 and 11-year-old kid. Every Friday is Pizza Friday. Even if I don't want pizza at my house, it's going to be Pizza Friday. And Papa John's will send me a reminder saying, hey, you interested? Here's a coupon. Something like that. Is that what we're talking about here? But
that's you picked it up correctly, Papa John's. But Papa John's is a big company. Now we're developed the platform for the mom and pops out there. So there are in the U.S. there's roughly 660,000 restaurants, and the restaurant industry is either the number 1 or number 2 employer out there. So our platform can help serve the mom and pops, helping them rise from the ashes of COVID. I mean, the Papa John's, the Domino's, all the high-level restaurants, they're probably already implementing a tool of this fashion, but we're bringing it to the masses, especially to the mom and pops who need it the most.
So what are you seeing in the restaurant market? The other day, James and I went for lunch. It was the first time he'd been to a restaurant. It was like the second or third time that I'd been to a restaurant. We went to this place expecting to have sushi, right? That was the goal. We were going to go have sushi at this place. We show up, and by the way, it's called the Fish Market here in San Diego. So we show up, and they don't have sushi. They have a very limited menu. We ask about it, and our waiter basically says, hey man, like, we had to let go 60% of our staff. The sushi department, we don't even have that right now. This is all we got going. Right. And this is a bigger restaurant. Like, this place has been around for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in the restaurant industry so that we can kind of help, people get through this stuff? And how are you using the iOrder.menu to help that happen?
So two things with restaurants. The rate of technological adoption has dramatically increased. So I was at a virtual restaurant trade show the other day, and all these technological tools, it was in the restaurant's purview 3 to 4 years, but now because of COVID, it's shrank that down to 3 to 4 months. So the restaurants are literally scrambling on what to do next. What are they doing to survive? So that's one aspect of it. The second aspect of iOrder is the first thing we want to do is help promote customer safety, and that's with a contactless ordering, contactless payment application. So mind you, we're not the only ones that are doing this. I mean, just like with the vaccines coming to the market, there are well over 1,000 patents on vaccines last checked. Similar thing with not with AI-driven digital menus. I take that back. Similar thing with digital menus, but we're a little bit different in that we're using artificial intelligence to make a restaurant's menu smarter.
And there's a lot of businesses out there that are working on trying to become more efficient in that sense. Example, we got Philip Morgan. He likes what we're doing here on the podcast, likes what you're doing out there too. He does carpet cleaning with OxyFresh, right? And
right.
He's out here trying to get more customers on a daily basis. COVID hits
too.
And repeat customers too. And that's one of those things where it's almost like a set it and forget it type thing that a lot of these places are looking for. Not so much a drip campaign, right? Because it's one thing to put our customers into a drip and they get an email, but it's another thing to have our customers be reminded, like, hey, it's about that time you got your carpet cleaned, right? Or it's about that time, you called you get your oil change, or these little reminder things are what's setting us apart. And we're implementing certain AIs in our households.
It's more than that, though. If you don't mind, it's more than just it's time for you to get your carpet cleaned again. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, but what AI does is it actually collects data of all of the other things that you have going on and puts it all together to say, hey, we noticed that you're doing this. Maybe it's a landlord or something, an apartment manager, property manager, that they purchased, I don't know, new carpet, or they purchased whatever it is that to revamp for a new unit, and then they say, hey, by the way, return for OxyFresh.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's just, I mean, if you look at our standard insights.io page, the main genesis is helping businesses drive repeat buyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So businesses typically want to do two things: bring in new customers, and then once they bring in new customers, is to have those customers for life. So, you know, a lot of software companies do great things to bring in new customers in. But why we started 2.5 years ago was that we saw something missing in the market. Not a lot of businesses or not a lot of software companies were focusing and driving repeat buyers, and that's where we come in.
So if you're oops, I gotta always make sure I do this. So if you're talking about helping them get repeat customers, there are a lot of times in small business where they get stuck in a routine. They've been doing things their way, the same way, over and over again. How are you breaking through to some of these guys to get out there and you know, like, get them involved, like, to show them, look, this is the way of the future. You know, no longer, I mean, yes, you can still knock on doors. Yes, we want you to pick up the phone. Yes, there are those things that you need to continue to do. But here's a tool that can really help bring your you know, your business to light, to show people that you're still in business, that you're still open, that you're still looking for work through artificial intelligence, right? Through you know, a program that helps
habits.
Yeah, so it's basically done through education in two ways. I've been helping educate, you know, restaurants are in my purview, and you know, nationwide with our channel partners. Is number one, getting on podcasts like this. I mean, I've been on 30 plus podcasts since March of this year. When actually my first podcast was before COVID, but during this time, with everyone kind of sort of, you know, locked down, it's given me the opportunity to get on podcasts and spread the word about artificial intelligence. And number two, writing articles. I've had 2 published articles since March with how AI and marketing can help, you know, business during these difficult times.
So let me ask you this, because this is a little bit more of a fun question. You're in the AI space. It's, you know, whenever you sit down and talk to somebody and they're like, hey, what do you do? You're like, oh, I work in artificial intelligence. That's got to spark some of the greatest questions in the world, right? People have to be asking you all kinds of, I mean, some things are very practical and they're relevant to what you're doing, but some of them have to be like bizarre, like, you know, they start talking about, you know, world takeover of robots and all kinds of Skynet stuff. Yeah, like, what's some of the greatest, you know, weirdest, funniest types of questions you get asked when you tell people, I'm in artificial intelligence, that's what I do?
You know, hey, one of them is, well, I have to replace my wait staff with robots. No, you don't, but
But that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. You are seeing a lot of things taking over some of that stuff, right? Like, I walked into McDonald's recently and I don't have to go up to the counter to order anymore. Like, I just go and order the machine. And if you're getting a little crazier, you have built-in things like at Starbucks, for example. I can order on my app. My app's going to tell me the last time you ordered, you like this. Would you like to repeat the order? Like, it's some of these simple things that we're putting into place. But those are the things that are kind of making us smarter as a technology base. What do you think, though? Is it flipping the smartness? Are we as humans becoming less intelligent because of it, or like what do you think of that? Like, is it helping us?
It's going to help us, right? There's going to be a learning curve, but just think about this. 10, 12 years ago, during the Great Recession, there was a little known company called Netflix, and we used to get our movies 10 years ago at Blockbuster. Now, where's Blockbuster? They're nowhere to be found. So, you know, technology, since the dawn of time, is improving our lives, but it's not always easily or readily accepted. But those who get on the train, so to speak, will have a significant advantage than those that don't.
All right. So speaking of significant advantages, as an entrepreneur, as a person in artificial intelligence, who are your real life heroes? Who are the people that you look up to, as a mentor, as people who are leading the space in the industry that you want to be a lot like?
Well, probably I guess most important person I look up to is my parents, because without them, I would not have gotten here. But there's a slew of data scientists out there. Gosh, those names escape me for some reason. It's kind of late here now, but yeah, just always learning from other folks in the field, whether they're in the, you know, data science or marketing field. Gary Vaynerchuk, right? That's one. Neil Patel in marketing, and then right now I'm having a lapse with the data scientist.
We got to drop the name. Well, I was wondering if you were going to say Elon Musk, because the guy's been freaking phenomenal.
Oh, there's a guy. There's a data scientist that I follow. I believe his first name is Lou. I forget his last name, but I heard him on Joe Rogan, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So that's a guy I follow. I just don't remember the name off the top of my head. So
Jerry, you're about my age at least, and we've gone through a couple of different market cycles. Right now, we're in the COVID cycle, and who knows what's going to be here in the future. But we've gone through some cycles in the past. Do you have any regrets or anything that you've learned from the past, being an entrepreneur, being in business, that you've learned from that you're going to implement things here in the future and kind of be prepared, a little more prepared for this ride?
Yeah. So when I started Standard Insights, or me and the three other co-founders, it was actually helped start it with mistakes I learned from the past. And I was actually involved with another software company, an AI machine learning company, 3-4 years ago that fell flat. And two things there, right? One, we had a great idea, but we didn't focus on our customers. And by not focusing on our customers, help accelerate our downfall. So at the end of the day, whatever you do, it's always going to be about your customers and about serving them, not the bells and whistles of your product.
Yeah, that's totally true. I mean, we say that all the time, being of service to others. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's your number one purpose in business, and it's your business's purpose to make a profit. So speaking of your business, speaking of your new launch, what part of it, what are you most excited about right now? Like, there's something in any entrepreneur's journey when we get ready to either launch something's just come out. We've been changing things up. What's right now that you wake up in the morning about your business that you're just excited, or maybe not about your business, that you're just excited about right now?
Well, number one, the opportunity, and number two, the challenge in my head, sleepless nights of scaling. How are we going to do this? Is pretty much, it took us a while to get our name out there, and now that it is, and we're getting inquiries on a daily basis, and being on all these podcasts, how are we going to be able to systematically serve and execute our platform with these restaurant owners? So that keeps me awake at night.
Dude, it's amazing how much this world has just in the past
turned
20
upside
years,
down.
Well, I mean, turned upside down for sure. But I was actually leaning more towards the technological thing. In the last 20 years, I mean, I've gone from having a pager when I was in high school to having this iPhone 11 now. It has like not even one camera. It's like 3 cameras on the back.
Is a camera 20 years ago.
Right? Yeah. Like it's ridiculous how far we've come in just this small space. Like exponentially we've gone huge. I mean, companies like Google, you didn't even exist, back when I was in high school. We didn't do things like that. But where do you see it going in the future? Like, I mean, I can only picture us going so fast. It's almost like the Flash, right? The Flash and Superman, they're flying down, they're going super fast. Like, can you see what happens in front of that? Like, we're going so fast. What do you think the future holds for technology?
I think regardless of whatever industry or vertical, it's the rate of the digitization is going to increase, tremendously. I mean, you're seeing that now with COVID. Businesses were forced to adapt and overcome real quick, whether it's here in the restaurant, the finance space, any space, any vertical. Restaurants are having to pivot quickly and learn how to do it quickly in a matter of months.
So are you telling
me, like the work from home example, if COVID were to happen, so I'm 48 years old, if COVID were to happen during the Great Recession in 2008 and 2009, we didn't have Zoom back then. Yeah, I remember doing video conference calls, but that wasn't a big giant office with an elaborate setup. Now I'm doing this over my phone.
Yeah. It's amazing where we've come, huh? I mean, So let's stay on the tech thing. If you could have like any piece of technology that you can just like magically, snap your fingers, and no, we can't have Thanos's gauntlet, James. But if you can magically snap your fingers, right, and you can wish into existence any technology that would help you with your business right now, or that would just, you thought would be awesome, what would that be?
Knowledge transfer from the co-founders and
Yes.
on the tech side. Okay, because I kid you not. So we've got this groundswell momentum, but the last couple years, all these ideas are either on my head or sticky notes. Now we're bringing channel partners in. I'm like, how do I get all this in my head, or these sticky notes that are all over my desk these last 2 years? And how do I impart the knowledge? Because to grow our company, it's going to be dependent on the people that the co-founders bring on and who they teach. And so, it's just probably that.
I love that's a great one, man. Because all I could think of, and I close my eyes, I know kung fu. Like that would be so awesome to just like Matrix style, right? Just plug it in, upload the information that I need, and we're good to go. Because really, that's what it comes down to, right? Augmented reality, maybe mass-produced holographic dude. I'm, and this is weird, okay, but you gotta follow. Okay, some of the amazing stuff, but follow what happens in the porn industry, and you can follow it when it comes to visual realities all the way through history. So when we started in the movie business and they took over, and then the VHS, that was the big hit that in that industry, so that pushed that, and then we went to DVDs versus what was the Blu-rays versus what was the other one that was going to come out at the time? Do you remember?
Beta?
No, Beta was with VHS.
No, that was VHS.
DVDs had a competitor too at first, and
so you're pretty much saying that industries are early adopters of tech.
They're the early adopters of that visual tech, right?
The visual technology.
Yeah. So when you're talking about you're going to have companies that are competing for the VR space, for example, right?
Yeah.
Well, the ones that take over that industry are probably going to be the ones that spend the most money in popularity. So augmented reality, that's going to be amazing, but that's not quite transference of knowledge. Transference of knowledge. That's a whole different. We've been doing that since we could write things down, right? That's how we've been transferring knowledge. We've been telling stories, but to literally connect you to my head and send you the information that I'm laser disc. I remember those, right? To have that information transfer over, from what I know to what you know, to give you my knowledge and my experience. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Well, the best thing for knowledge transfer is when we bring on channel partners or reps or marketing, is I'm going to have them listen to this podcast. I said, hey, all these podcasts I've done, they're typically non-techie based. They're done in a fun story format. So that's what the prospects will want to hear. They don't want any of the tech jargon. Eventually they will, but really, if you're taking a look at a pie, the story is about 90%. The tech stuff is the last 10%. But if you can get them hooked on the story, 90%, you'll close that business. So the knowledge transfer I have right now is this podcast.
Yeah,
so tell us a story. I want to hear a story. I want to hear how, give me an example, maybe a real life example of one of these restaurants that you've gone and done the iorder.menu with, and how it's changed their business.
Well, it's helped improve their efficiencies first and foremost, right? And then number two, when you log into our application, you'll see something at the top. We call it personalized recommendations. So what you guys like to eat, what I like to eat, and so for me, I like lighter beers, the Pilsners and lagers versus the darker beers, IPAs. So those give me a headache. I like spicy food, hot wings versus mild wings. So now our platform, once you log in, it'll show you recommendations that you're more likely to order, right? And once that happens, the turnover is quicker. It's helping improve three things: improving customer experience, preventing customer indecision, and then telling the customer what to do next, even before they walk into the restaurant or go to the website to place an order.
So are these unique applications to the restaurant, or is this something like I would download on my phone and participating?
Yeah, it's not an app. So we just give you the web link, or it's you scan the QR code and it'll pop up. That restaurant's menu will pop up.
So each individual restaurant has their QR code, so we can walk in, scan it, and then quick and easy. And the software is already tracking me on what I order.
Correct. So the next time you order, like, hey, what did I order here last time that tasted good? You click on the top part, and it'll show you what you ordered in the past.
All right, Jerry, if you start doing well for businesses, right? You start doing well for a lot of these companies, they're going to have to name a sandwich after you. So what do you think what would you like that sandwich to be called? Like if they had to name a sandwich after you, what would be in this sandwich and what would you call it? What do you think?
Man, like I mentioned as an example, I mean, I love hot chicken wings, right? I have a pepper garden. I grow Carolina Reapers, the hottest peppers. So something along, maybe Carolina hot or Reaper hot, something along those lines. But
Reaper hot. That's some crazy stuff, man. I don't know, man. I like a little bit of hot stuff. I mean, I do like a little bit of kick to my stuff. But if it's making me sweat and I'm uncomfortable,
that's the best, man. It's a challenge, you know.
Jerry Reaper hot chicken sandwich.
Yes, something along those lines. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's some amazing. All right. Well, let me ask you this. You're analyzing human behavior. You're analyzing the things that we do on a regular basis. You're analyzing what we purchase on a regular basis. So you have to have a little bit of an understanding of how we as humans act. So what do you think is the most overrated virtue that we kind of put on a pedestal as humans? That's kind of a rounded question, but just kind of, what's a virtue that you think we as humans overrate?
I think just from what I've seen and what's going on in the in the planet right now, we're humans and we tend to just focus on what makes us feel good versus what the data is saying. Right? So whether it's in restaurants or what's going on with this pandemic, we're all humans and we want things that makes us feel good versus what science says or what the data says. So I think that's it. Yeah, right. And people have this, they're in this cocoon, their comfort blanket, right? And whether it's like, well, I've never ordered on my phone. I've always ordered on a paper menu. Well, paper menus, one thing, they carry a lot of germs. And number two, you can't really do anything with them. You can't change the menu. I mean, that's another cost. But I think that's that. I mean, we're humans. We have our own biases, whatever that may be. And sometimes it's hard to see beyond that.
All right. So we're supposedly we're rational people, but we're very emotional in what we do.
Yeah,
that's what it's right? Yeah. We claim to be rational, but we act more emotional than everything else, right?
Exactly.
All right, Jerry, ready? Let's ask you this one. Yeah, and I know this is going to vary depending on everybody's individual age, but whatever. If you had to delete all but 3 apps on your phone, right? You can only have 3 apps, and these are the ones that you're going to go to. Which ones would you keep? I'm wondering what an AI guy would do. What's the stuff?
Man, what would I keep?
To? Well, first of all,
with the banking app,
iPhone or Android.
Android.
Oh, see, I used to be one of those. I
love the like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, up until 2 weeks ago. Okay, so 3 apps.
3 apps. The banking app, because I need to access my money. Number 2, a podcast app, which is Stitcher, and number 3, a workout app.
Ooh,
nice.
Yeah.
Dude, Jerry, okay, workout app, man, that's gotta hurt, dude. I know that's one of the reasons why I can't handle that heat, that spicy food. Because when I go running, I'm gonna feel it in my chest. It's gonna start coming back up.
I just got to gut it out.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling myself. I'm like, I tell my wife, I go, it gives me heartburn. She goes, how do you know it's heartburn? Because it feels like my heart is burning.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. All right, so if it was me, I would keep Google Chrome because it would give me access to a lot of different things.
That's a good one. Yeah,
right. I would keep let's see, I would keep Google Chrome. I would keep my Audibles, and probably YouTube. I think between those 3, I think I can handle pretty much everything. I got a audio only. I got a YouTube, which I can pretty much access almost every podcast app, and then Google just gives me access to the world, right? I mean, there's no way you can't. Google has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that Google one, I didn't think about that. I'm like, okay.
I'm like, does that count though? Because like, That's your browser. It's kind of built in because, like, you didn't even bring up the phone app or the text messaging app or
who uses their phone as a phone these days? Come on, man.
I mean, that's true.
I mean, Jerry, you have kids?
No, we just got 3 dogs. So
okay. So like, if I'm gonna reach out to my kids, like, I don't even call them on the phone. I'll send them like a Snapchat. Like I'll send them a Snapchat because that's what they're on, or a Google Hangout or something. It's not even a phone call these days. Like, there's very few reasons for us to have a phone line other than to have internet access. Well, anyways, I can go into a whole nother thing there. Jerry, tell me a little bit. I'm gonna post some stuff here on the screen so people can follow you on Twitter and people can check out your website. So give me a quick little debrief here on the difference between the Standard Insights and the iOrder.
Yes, so Standard Insights is the mothership, if you will. So that's at its base course an AI service growth marketing platform. And we launched iOrder, still the same principles, but iOrder.menu is dedicated to restaurants only. Why did we do that? It's just, well, number one, COVID kind of forced us to separate, to distinguish what our our AI-driven digital menu, and just to give it its own brand recognition, if you will, with something action-oriented. iOrder. So you're always ordering food. What do you want to order? iOrder, and then .menu. So
that's the way it is, because that's how we order stuff. I order stuff all the time.
iOrder. Where do you order from? A menu. So iOrder.menu.
That's perfect. That makes total sense. And we should be checking it out. I mean, anybody who wants to stay away from, touching that paper menu, to being able to keep track of what you ordered the last time. I know for me, it's a huge deal when I go to the restaurant and I'm like, man, I know there was something good here. What did I order? It'd be cool to kind of just look back and look at your past orders, right? I do the same thing on Amazon all the time. I gotta reorder a couple new filters for my refrigerator. I'm like, which one was it? Just go back to the order history and find it.
Exactly.
And you're good to go. So it kind of works the same way. You don't have to worry about stuff.
Yeah.
Jerry, hey, man, thank you very much for coming on the show. Really appreciate
you taking
the time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
AI, ladies and gents, the wave of the future. Actually, the future's already here. So make sure you guys follow Jerry on Twitter and check out his websites. Get started. If you're in the restaurant business, for sure, make sure you guys check that out. Otherwise, if you're just in business, you need some artificial intelligence, some helping you with lead generation, lead follow-up, that sort of stuff. Get your marketing in the virtual IA direction as soon as possible. Thanks, Jerry, very much for coming on the show. Ladies and gents, that's all we got for you guys today.
Thanks,
Peace.
guys.
Bye-bye.
And we're out.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.